So in this lesson, I'm going to move forward and demonstrate how to use objects, in fact, create shapes using Python. So for instance, we'll begin by creating some oval objects, and I'll also demonstrate using the checkered background, for instance, and how to use and create bitmaps or little icons that you can also use to embed on the form. So first, let's begin. I'm going to start with a comment here. So creating oval objects or shapes. Let me go ahead and save this quickly and click save. Great. So from tkinter import, specify our canvas width equals, let's say 400, and canvas height also to be 400. I can also specify a standard color here, call it Python green, and this is number sign. Again, you can use any color if you choose to do so. Let's go ahead with our definition, and here I'm going to create a polygon, in fact a polygon star. Let's do some stars, and that's going to be on our canvas. And then I'm going to specify the coordinates, right, or the distances between these stars. So it'll be the x, the y, p, and the t. Okay, so these are the polygon coordinates, and then I'm going to specify the outline equals Python green. Fill color would be, let's say, yellow, and the width equals 1. So here's our starting our definition, and then points will be a blank list, and just do a for I in 1 and -1. I'm going to extend the points, so it'll be points dot extend method, and use the x, open parentheses, and then x is also going to be in the parentheses because I'm going to use to add the y plus the I multiplied by p. So this is our coordinate, and same thing, I'm going to use this to extend for each point for my star. So I'm going to use point dot extend method again, and use x plus, and in this instance this is going to be I times t, and then y plus I times t. Let's do points extend method again, and this time I'm going to use the x plus I into p, and then y, and then finally our last points dot extend will be for the I into t. So it'll be x plus I multiplied by t, and this time is going to be y minus I and times t. Okay, so this will form basically our star. And once I'm done, I can simply tell Python to print points. So once I've identified and told Python to create and give it the dimensions, I can always go ahead and use canvas.create the polygon. So create polygon, and then bring my points, give it an outline if I choose to do so. So outline equals outline, and I can always use the fill equals fill, and width equals width. So once our polygon is created, let me go ahead and do the master equals tk, get a variable in here, call it w, equals canvas, and use master, and specify some width equals canvas width, and then also the height. So height equals canvas height, and I can use the pack method with the w. So w.pack. Great. Get a couple of more variables. So p equals, let's say, 50, and then I would say t equals 15. All right, let me scroll down here. Now these are for the like iterations, like how many stars do I want. So if I like to display, let's say I'll create an X, I could specify the n steps. Okay, next. So this will be n steps, for example. This will be, let's say, 10. Of course, counting the 0, so it'll be 9 of them, right? So it'll be 9 stars. Then I can say step X equals int canvas width, and divide that by n steps. And do the same thing with Y. So step Y equals int, and use canvas height for the Y and divide that by n steps. Next, do the loop. So for I in range 1 and n steps, do the polygon star. And what needs to be done is we'll call the variable w and then multiply the I into steps, or in fact step X, and then I into step Y, use the P and use the T also, and then of course outline. I'm going to give it a red color, for example. So outline would equal, let's say, red. I can specify a fill option, so I can say fill equals green, and the width can be 3, for instance. Next, do the polygon star one more time, and here I'm going to say W, and this is going to be for the height, right? So the first polygon star was for the width, and here is where I'm going to use the height. So it'll be I into step X, comma, canvas height, minus I into step Y, and of course use the P and T, and of course give the outline. So outline equals red. I need to also include the T. It will be P and then T. And then I give my outline to red, and fill equals, let's say, green again, and then specify the width to be 3. So we keep consistent. So width equals 3. Great. And next, let me scroll to the left a little bit so you can see. I'm going to close the main loop here. So main loop. All right, so let's take a look at our code here, creating oval objects. Basically, we're creating a star. And let's test it out, in fact. Let me save it, run it, and let's check to see line 2 quickly. And it doesn't like the indent. So let's bring it here. And of course, get rid of this extra space that we have. Let's run it one more time. And the canvas width is 400. And of course, get rid of these spaces so we get our code right. And this time we go to line 9 where our definition is. I'm going to make sure we get our values correctly in here. And let me fix this error quick. So we didn't need a parentheses here. In fact, we need a comma. Perfect. Let's run. Let's check to see what else is going on. So this seems okay. We got our canvas. We get the XY, PT. And then we define the outline. Just get rid of this. Here we go. Make sure our indentation is correct. Now let's scroll down to our master equals TK and make sure our indentation is correct here. Let's see what else. Line 24. And use the same thing here. Line 26. Bring this back. Keep testing our code as we move forward, right? And of course I need to close the parentheses here instead of after the width. Perfect. Just run it again and make sure we spell it correct. So it's Height. So just some simple spelling errors, guys. Okay, so run it, get the indentation correct. All right, great. So I think it should be fine for now. Let's do a 4 here. All right, so our code seems correct at this point. So once I've indented the code properly, make sure that Python likes the indentation. Let me go ahead and save. Let me go ahead and save and run this again. And that's exactly what we wanted. And we fill the star with yellow color, or this polygon shapes, in fact, with yellow, and then outline with red. And we use the width as 1 as well. So next I'm going to continue on and also demonstrate how to use a checkered canvas. So where you'll have lines going horizontally and vertically. Okay, so let me close this, scroll to the bottom, and just put a comment here. So I'm going to say something like oval objects, widgets, and creating a checkered canvas. And let me go ahead and type from tkinter, import, and then create our definition. So I'm going to call it checkered, specify the canvas, and then the line distance. Once that's done, let me put a comment here, or in fact let me continue with the code. So I'm going to say for x in range, I'm going to say line distance, canvas, width, and then my line distance again. And it's going to do canvas and then create the line. So create line, use x, 0, x, and then canvas height, and use the fill. And the color is going to be, I don't know, it can be any color, but we'll stick to the ones that we've been using so far. So 476042. And for the horizontal line at the interval, right? So first we created the vertical lines at an interval of the line distance pixel, and next we'll specify the code to create the horizontal line. So I'm going to say for y in range. In fact, it's the same code, so I'm just going to copy it and paste it in the y range here. And of course, copy the create canvas, paste it, but change the canvas height to width. And of course, the x also needs to be changed to say it's going to be starting from 0, and then y, then my canvas width, y again, and subsequently fill with the color. Once I'm done, do a master equals tk, specify the canvas width to be 200 and canvas height also 200. My variable w equals canvas, specify master, and then use the width equals canvas width, and the height equals canvas height. And of course use my w.pack, and here I'm going to use the checkered, call the w at, let's say 10, not 20, 10, and close our main loop. Great. Save it, run it. Here's our first piece of code. We close it, and perfect. So the next line of code that we created was for the checkered canvas. So this is how you can actually create a checkered canvas in Python if that's something that you like to create. So it is all by means of taking a look at the distances between the horizontal and vertical lines, and this is where we find this in the definition here that we created. All right, let me close this, and finally quickly let me also demonstrate how to use the bitmaps. In other words, icons that we can also create and place on the canvas. So let me go ahead and do the from tkinter import, specify the width and height of the canvas. So canvas width, I'm going to use 300, and canvas height equals, make it a little smaller so we can see all the icons in fact, and use the master equals tk, and go ahead and use the canvas.pack, and next bring in my bitmaps. So I'm going to say bitmaps equals, and here's my list. So first icon would be the error, the next would be grays or gray 75, and again you can reference within the Python library for these, and do another one, say gray 50, gray 25, and you will just see what they actually look like once I run this code. And use gray 12. I can also use, let's say, the hourglass info, and let's just do one more. Let me show you the quest head. All right, great. Next, let me scroll down. We're going to do the end steps, and this is equals to the length of the bitmaps, and then specify the step x equals int canvas width, and then I'm going to divide this by the end steps, and finally do my for loop. So I'm going to say for I in range 0 and end steps. What needs to be done is we need to create the canvas. So canvas dot create bitmap, and next I'm going to specify what needs to be created. So it'll be I plus 1. I'm going to have it multiplied by step x, subtract step x divided by 2, get the 50, and then use the bitmap equals bitmaps and the list I, and get my main loop in here, save it, run it. Here's the first piece of code. Here's our checkered canvas, and let's take a look at line 73 where we use the canvas.pack, and it says canvas not defined. So of course after master tk we need to get and define our canvas quickly. So canvas equals canvas, get the master, comma, width equals canvas width, and height equals our canvas height, and then we use the canvas.pack. Great. Let's run it again. Close the first one, close the checkered, and it doesn't find the grays 75 because in fact it is just gray, it's not grays. So make sure the rest of the bitmaps are correct. Let's run it finally. Close the first two boxes, and there we go. So we have our icons for our canvas. So the first is the error icon that you can also use. Then is the gray 75, which is just a box with dark gray color. And then as we use the 75 to gray 50 to gray 25, notice the color is different with each category. Then we have the hourglass, we have the info bitmap, and the quest head as well. So in this manner, you can use Python to create polygon shapes, checkered background, or insert bitmaps right on your canvas. So practice using this, and let's move to our next lesson.